Hello guys. So today, Rocket Lab is going to be attempting to launch their Love at First Insight rocket. One second, let me pull something up. Love at First Insight rocket from the Mahia Peninsula in New Zealand. One second. This was bad planning. No. One second. There. Okay. So, yes. So this is Everyday Astronauts his website. It it has a lot of good information. So current launch time is 8:38 p.m. Eastern Time or 1:38 UTC and 2:38 p.m. New Zealand time. There are two Earth observation satellites for black sky that each weigh around 120 pounds, and Launch Complex 1A. The rocket is the Electron Rocket, which is the only rocket that Rocket Lab uses. They will not be recovering to attempt the fairings. Yes, they're new because they do not recover the fairings. The weather, they did say there was high upper level winds, and this will be their third attempt at recovering the first stage. So, yes. Rocket Lab should be going live soon with live views. They're live right now, except they don't have views of the rocket. So they should get views up shortly. So once they do get the views up, I will start talking. Actually, I'll just keep talking the whole time. Okay, so another fun thing to do is Flight Club. Let's do Flight Club. So there is Flight Club. This is flightclub.io. It's very, it's actually really good to track the mission profiles. You have all this information. That's max Q, the drag coefficient. You can see the altitude, all that stuff. The first stage will come down and slowly descend as it's under the parachute. Okay, and if we go to 3D visual, you can see on the East Coast right now it's dark. It will go up from New Zealand. That's the launch pad, and then it will go mostly straight for the beginning, and it'll start pitching over that white line right there. That's Miko, or main engine cutoff, in the coast phase between the stage burns. And then the whole orange part up there is the second stage burn. So this will be during daytime for New Zealand, but it will not be daytime for me. Yes, okay. Oh no. What happened? Oh no. And then, that's where the first stage will come down. It'll come off over there. I don't know what that is. I'm not that good at geography. I know it is a piece of land. So, so you can see that's where the first stage will come down. Um, yeah, the first stage will come down there. Hopefully we'll get live views, and the fairings will come down all the way that far downrange. And the second stage will stay up because it is in orbit. So then we can just go to its limit. Yes. So the inclination is 49.9 degrees. Yes, all of this stuff is very helpful. So T-minus 2 seconds, the first stage will ignite. At T0, the clamps will release. At 150 seconds, there will be, they're starting. 1 second, we can do this later.
Hello from Rocket Lab's Mission
So that's
Control
the
Centre,
rocket live.
where we are bringing you a live look at the Electron Rocket ready on the pad at Rocket Lab Launch Complex 1 in Mahia, New Zealand. Thank you for joining us this afternoon from Rocket Lab's 22nd Electron launch, a mission we have called Love at First Insight for our customer Black Sky through Mission Integration Partner Spaceflight. I'm Muriel Baker here with you from our Mission Control Centre in Auckland, New Zealand. We are about 19 minutes away from the scheduled launch of this mission at 2:38 p.m. local time or 1:38 a.m. UTC. We're targeting liftoff right at the top of our launch window, with backup opportunities available over the fortnight in case we need to scrub or stand down for any reason from today's launch attempt. We are also keeping a close eye on the weather off the coast where, for the first time, we have a helicopter stationed offshore, ready to take part in our rocket recovery operations by observing the return of Electron's booster from space as part of our work to make Electron the world's first reusable orbital class small rocket. This mission will be the third time we'll bring Electron's first stage back to Earth under a parachute before landing it softly in the ocean to be recovered by our recovery engineers on a nearby ship. We have water-landed Electron twice before on our 16th and 20th Electron launches, but this third time includes the introduction of that helicopter that will simulate flying in formation with the returning booster as a test for future attempts to recover the booster from the air with a helicopter instead. We have cameras stationed on the chopper and will hopefully be able to bring you live views of Electron's return from space from about T+10 minutes after liftoff. Regardless of whether we get those live shots, we will bring you updates throughout this broadcast on those operations as soon as we have them.
Test toggled and successful.
Okay, so we're 17 minutes 30 seconds away from liftoff, and fueling of Electron continues.
And LD confirms I'm monitoring mission board LB board.
On the satellites on board today's mission, we've had to lengthen Electron in order to fit the two Gen 2 satellites for Black Sky inside Electron's fairing. These payloads are the company's latest observation smallsats for their low Earth orbit constellation. They capture high-resolution images of our planet that are combined with Black Sky's artificial intelligence platform to analyse and make sense of those images, to track trends from a region's economic recovery from COVID-19 through to international cargo transport, and provide analytics and insights to industries including infrastructure, land use, defence, supply chain management and humanitarian aid. Love at First Insight is the first of 3 back-to-back dedicated missions for Black Sky, with the next targeted for liftoff during a 2-week launch window that opens before the end of this year. The beauty of owning and operating the world's first private orbital launch site means that Rocket Lab is uniquely capable of launching where and when our customers want to on their timeline. Black Sky and Spaceflight are using that advantage to launch these satellites quickly over the next few weeks and deliver insights to decision makers around the world faster. Earlier, we caught up with Spaceflight at Launch Complex 1 to talk through the mission.
This is very delayed.
Hello from Rocket Lab's Launch Complex 1. My name is Brian Hirsch, and I am the mission manager for several of our upcoming launches with Black Sky. With me today is Lisa Middlebrook, Spaceflight's mission manager for today's launch, who will tell us a little bit about Black Sky's spacecraft on board Electron today. Lisa, welcome to Rocket Lab.
Thank you.
Tell me a bit about Black Sky's spacecraft on board Electron today. Where are they headed to on orbit, and what will they do there?
We're adding 6 Earth observation satellites to Black Sky's global constellation. These satellites are manufactured by LeoStella, a fellow space company in the Seattle area with whom Black Sky has been working closely with for years. They'll be heading to a mid-inclination orbit, which will allow these satellites to target a latitude band which is home to most of the world's population. These 3 launches will nearly double their constellation and further improve their ability to provide a rapid response to the changing world.
There's obviously a bit of a process to bring a satellite from a paper design to space. Tell me about the work you do as a spaceflight mission manager to help enable that.
On a day-to-day basis, it's essentially a project management role where the project is sending satellites to space. As mission managers at Spaceflight, we interface most closely with both the launch vehicle provider and the satellite customer. Our role begins the moment the contract is signed, and we carry it all the way through to launch, which is typically a 6 to 12-month cycle. While I'm the main interface, I have a whole team of people behind me supporting each mission. Right now, I'm helping coordinate the integration here at LC1. If any problems arise, it's my job to help clear the way to make sure that we can launch on time.
What's it like working and launching from Launch Complex 1 here in New Zealand?
Every morning when I head to the launch pad, I feel like I'm driving to the end of the Earth. The area around Launch Complex 1 is deserted. Other than sheep, cows, and the ocean, there's nothing until you get to the end. And there you have cutting-edge rocketry. And the juxtaposition of the two is pretty amazing.
This mission is the first of 3 missions by Rocket Lab for Black Sky. Does that bring any additional considerations to your job as the mission manager?
We have 6 satellites, 3 launches, and 2 clean rooms. It's a bit of an orchestration to layer the standalone operations of one launch with encapsulation of another. Meanwhile, the loading dock is getting ready to have 2 more satellites arrive any day now, but we're making it work.
What's it like to work with the Rocket Lab team?
Because Electron is a small class rocket, and on this mission, we're the dedicated customer, Rocket Lab is able to be extremely accommodating. The Rocket Lab team is incredibly smart, professional, and a real pleasure to work with. You guys make it easy.
Thank you, Lisa, for all the hard work you've put into this mission, and thank you to the entire Spaceflight and Black Sky team. We're looking forward to the next 3 in a row.
Today's mission, combined with a satellite we already deployed earlier this year and the next 2 missions to come, represent the largest number of satellites Black Sky has committed to a single launch provider to date, and we are thrilled to be back on the pad for them once again today. A check-in on the countdown clock tells us we are just seconds away from the go, no-go poll for launch by this mission's launch director, Adam Slee. Let's listen in to Mission Control and hear how we are shaping up for liftoff today.
Please be go.
All stations, this is LD on mission cord. We're proceeding with the go, no-go sequence at this time. Stage, there you go.
Stages go.
Avionics.
Avionics is go.
GNC.
GNC is go.
Beacon.
Beacon is go.
T1.
T1 is go.
GC.
GC is go.
PLS.
PLS is go.
RSO.
RSO is go.
MET.
Met is go.
MM.
MM is go.
Recovery.
Recovery is go.
LD sub.
LD sub is go.
And can confirm execs go.
Yeah, they go.
We're currently T-minus 11 minutes 24 seconds and counting. We are currently go for the terminal count start at T-minus 10. From this time, the three-way procedure is in effect.
Okay, so yes.
There you have it. That's confirmation from our launch operators that Electron, the payload, and our crew are ready for launch, and we will be proceeding with the remainder of the count. Our Electron recovery team stationed offshore are also ready to proceed. The T0 liftoff time remains 2:38 p.m. New Zealand local time or 1:38 a.m. UTC. Electron is a two-stage launch vehicle purpose-built as a dedicated rocket to small satellites. Standing 18 meters tall, Electron's iconic black look comes from its carbon composite structure that is both incredibly strong and extremely light, allowing...
It's white though because of the propellant, because it's really cold. So they chill it down to like negative 200 something degrees, and it turns the outside to white. So that's why it is some white, some, yeah.
Liquid oxygen and RP1 are highly refined kerosene, and major components like the combustion chamber can be printed within just 24 hours. We've flown more than 200 of these engines to space, with today's mission bringing the count to 220. Housed on top of the second stage within the fairing is our kick stage, equipped with its own Curie engine, flight software and other systems to function as an orbital transfer vehicle to deliver payloads to their exact destination in space. With the kick stage travelling at up to 27,000 kilometres an hour, inserting the payload to its specific orbital plane is a complex task that requires precision and flawless timing. It takes a dedicated team of engineers and technicians, hours of systems testing and checks and rechecks of every aspect of the vehicle and payload before our launch director gives the go to proceed with launch. Here's what goes into preparations and mission readiness in the hours before launch.
The countdown to launch is the most closely watched clock in mission control. Here are some of the things that take place at each milestone after the countdown begins. At T-minus 9 hours before launch, our crew are on site at Launch Complex 1 to configure the pad for launch and prepare to power on Electron for the day's operations. Meanwhile, our operators in mission control start checking in to their stations. At T-minus 7 hours, our operators will brief the launch director with a status update. Mission Control also receives its first weather check on what to expect at liftoff, including cloud cover and predicted wind speed at Launch Complex 1. Now, at T-minus 6 hours, our ground tracking stations begin to power up before Electron is prepared to go vertical on the pad. Soon afterward, Electron's Rutherford engines are tested with a short burst of engine fire to confirm all systems are operating as they should. At T-minus 5 hours through T-minus 3 hours, our range safety team runs through safety status checks for those on and around our launch complex on the peninsula, making sure the team and the public are kept safe during the day's launch attempt. Fuel loading of kerosene will soon begin on Electron, while additional vertical systems checks take place and the pad is evacuated. It's T-minus 3 hours now, and soon liquid oxygen will begin to flow into Electron. As the rocket slowly fills with this oxidizer, Electron's black body turns white as humidity in the air around the rocket freezes into a thin sheet of ice due to the freezing temperatures of the liquid oxygen inside. With 1 hour left to launch, it's crunch time for our operators. Vehicle cameras are switched to their launch settings. Our avionics team enables Electron for flight. Our final weather brief comes through, and the range safety status will confirm that the area is clear for launch. With 12 minutes left in the count, our launch director runs the go, no-go poll with our operators to make the final decision to proceed with the launch. All final checks are completed before we reach T-minus 2 minutes in the countdown. At this critical point, the countdown auto sequence begins and Electron's flight computers take over. The launch director begins counting down to liftoff from T-minus 10 seconds before the engines ignite 3 seconds before launch, and Electron lifts off the pad at T0 on its way to complete its next mission with the satellites on board.
As you can see, it's a massive team effort to deliver Black Sky's payloads to orbit today. Our operations are on track and remain green for an on-time liftoff at 2:38 p.m. local time.
So that's a view from pretty far away, because you can see like all the other. Oh no, the cows! No, the cows! The field's so close. You have to get the cows. No. No, the cows. They're gonna be so scared. Look, there's so many of them. They're just eating the grass. They're gonna light a rocket and just, like, maybe a few 100 feet away from the cows. They should have evacuated the cows too, not just the people.
Let's delve a little bit more into how the recovery operations for this mission will take place.
Okay.
At around 2.5 minutes after liftoff, following normal launch procedure, the 9 Rutherford engines on Electron's first stage will shut down, and Electron's first and second stages will separate. Electron's second stage will continue with the Black Sky satellites to space, where the kick stage will later separate and deploy the satellites. While the mission continues, Electron's first stage will begin its descent. A cold gas reaction control system will position the stage on an ideal angle to re-enter the atmosphere and
There was a
help
picture
Electron to
somewhere
handle
of
the
the 4 RTS
2,200
vessels.
degrees Celsius heat and incredible pressure it experiences on the way back to Earth. Electron's booster is expected to reach up to 8 times the speed of sound before
8?
significantly decelerating
Well, there's gonna
to
be
enable
big
a
sonic
drogue
booms.
parachute to be deployed. That will take place at approximately 7.5 minutes into the mission, deploying at around 43,000 feet or 13
43,000
kilometers
feet.
in altitude. This drogue parachute both increases the booster's drag and stabilizes its descent as it approaches the ocean. Earlier and higher than on previous flights, the large main parachute will be deployed less than a minute
Look at the
after the
giant field
drogue
of cows.
at an
The
altitude
poor
of
cows.
19,000 feet or 5.7 kilometers
The
to further
cows,
slow
they're
the
so
stage and
close.
enable a controlled splashdown. Upon receiving the all clear from the recovery team stationed at sea, the nearby helicopter will be deployed to sight the returning stage and follow its descent. A key objective of this mission is to increase the drift time of Electron's first stage to test communications and tracking for future aerial recovery efforts. Once in the ocean, Rocket Lab engineers will attempt to retrieve Electron's first stage on board their vessel with their purpose-built Ocean Recovery and Capture Apparatus, or ORCA, a specialized cradle and winch system manufactured to Electron specifications, before securing the stage and transporting it back to Rocket Lab's production complex for analysis and inspection. With a live camera on the recovery helicopter, we will do
Oh,
our
yeah, we're
best
gonna
to
get live
bring the
views.
video feed to you during the webcast. But of
Well,
course,
hopefully.
if we can't, we will keep you updated on those recovery events throughout the broadcast and on our social media. We are approaching, though, the final moments in the lead up to liftoff now, with just
2 minutes,
2 and
50
a bit
seconds.
minutes and remaining on the clock. All systems are go and the weather is clear for T0. Very soon, Electron's flight computers will take over and command the countdown to launch. Once auto sequence begins, about 30 seconds later, we should hear the call that fueling Electron with liquid oxygen has been completed. Confirmation of first and second stage pressurization should follow, then on to the final 60 seconds and T-minus 10-second countdown before Electron lifts off the pad for our 20-second launch from Launch Complex 1. We're going to switch to the mission control comms channels now to listen in ahead of liftoff.
Okay, so they are 2 minutes 10 seconds away from launch. They should soon switch to internal power, and then liquid oxygen loading will be complete on both stages in about a minute or so. That's a big ground event.
Vehicle is on internal power.
There's internal power, so like 30 seconds until.
AFTS is green and enabled for flight.
Okay, so the FTS is now armed flight termination
Copy
system.
avionics.
So if the rocket does go out of its course, they will blow it up, because you can't risk blowing other things or people up. 1 minute 30 seconds.
LOX load is complete. System is in recirculation.
Their liquid oxygen load is complete. You're gonna see big venting. That's normal. That's just to keep the pressure stable inside the rocket. 1 minute 15 seconds.
Anti-geysering is disabled.
I don't know what that is.
Stage 1 and Stage 2 tanks are pressed.
Okay, so both stage tanks are now pressed for flight.
High flow engine purge is enabled.
So they're purging the engines with the liquid oxygen and the kerosene to prepare them for launch, so the instant fuel
Deluge
for the
activated.
engines doesn't completely destroy. Okay, so the sound suppression water is on. Okay, here we go. I feel bad for the cows. Look at all the cows in that
T-minus
field.
20 seconds.
Those black dots are all cows. No, the cows.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Confirm liftoff.
Look at the cows. Oh no, look, you can see them running. You could see all the cows just running away. Okay, that looked good. That's a pretty shot.
Entered stage 1 burnout detect mode.
So that
We're at T plus 46 seconds, and there goes another Electron on its way to space for this 20-second launch from the pad from Rocket Lab Launch Complex 1. Soon the rocket will experience its peak amount of stress as it travels incredibly quickly over a large distance. This moment is called maximum aerodynamic pressure, or what's known as max Q, and is one of the first gates Electron needs to clear to make it to orbit.
Speed, it's supersonic, so 1,200 kilometers per hour supersonic speed.
And past max Q.
Okay, that's good. It passed your max Q.
And we have passed max Q, and Electron is continuing the journey to space.
Oh no.
Propulsion looks nominal on Electron's first stage as the rocket approaches the next major milestones of launch.
The camera. Oh.
In a few moments, Electron's 9
There's some
Rutherford
frames.
engines will throttle down and then shut off completely to slow the rocket down.
There.
This milestone is called main engine cutoff, or MECO, and it occurs just before Electron's first and second stages separate.
Look right
Once that's happened, very quickly, Electron.
So right on the screen, you can see that RCS thruster, the little thing that sticks out from the side of the rocket. You can see that's an RCS thruster, so that's what they were talking about before. And you can see the plume expansion to the higher atmosphere they get. There's no pressure to push the plume in, so it just opens up once they get higher in the atmosphere.
Mission control that those events have occurred successfully.
So we're almost to MECO.
15 seconds to MECO.
15 seconds.
MECO confirmed.
MECO. There's
Stage
stage
separation
separation.
successful.
There's second stage ignition. Yes.
Stage to ignition.
So we should now.
There you have it. Electron has had a successful MECO, stage separation, and
Fairing should
second
be
stage
next.
engine start. Stage 1 recovery operations will now proceed with the vehicle's successful stage separation. We are moments away now from Electron's fairing ejection. Let's keep an eye on our screens for that.
They're the fairings. Yeah, there's
Fairing
both of them.
separation confirmed.
Electron's fairing has successfully separated as we
Stage
get ready to
discharge.
deploy the
There's a view
2
from the
Black
first
Sky
stage
satellites
on
to
the right.
their low Earth
The right
orbit
is the
within
first
the
stage.
hour.
Left
In
is
about
the second
1 minute
stage.
or so, Electron's first stage will reach apogee. Now, when the first and second stages separated, Electron's booster is still traveling at such a speed that it continues moving upward before gravity begins to take over. So once Electron's first stage reaches apogee, or its highest point, the only place for it to go next is back down. We should hear that call soon from Mission Control.
Oh look, you can see it's moving so fast. It's moving so fast sideways. It's going so far over the ocean. Yeah, so they did say it's going to go Mach 8, so it's going to create a pretty big sonic boom when it comes back through the atmosphere. There it's angling itself, so it can enter engines first.
Okay, we are just past T plus 4 minutes into flight, and Electron Stage 2 is travelling nominally at a speed of over 8,000 kilometres an hour and an altitude of over 167
they're going to aim
kilometres.
the tail
In less than a minute,
because they're still
Electron's
going
first
upward.
stage should reach apogee with orientation of the stage underway as planned.
Okay, so you can see the booster. Now you can't see any land because they aimed the
Stage 2
booster upward.
propulsion is nominal.
Okay, they aimed the booster upward because it's still moving upward. So they're gonna slowly pitch it. Okay, so the booster's at apogee, so now they're gonna pitch it down.
And with
Pitch it
apogee
farther down.
confirmed,
It's gonna
Electron's
slowly
first
pitch
stage
down.
is officially on its earthward trajectory. The next milestone in our recovery operations will be the deployment of the first chute on Electron's booster. We'll stick with the camera views on the rocket for as long as we can, but a reminder, we do expect them to cut out at some point on that return. Meanwhile, Electron's second stage engine is burning bright and beautiful on the way to orbit. The vehicle is currently at speeds of more than 10,000 kilometers per hour and an altitude of more than 200 kilometers.
Now the booster is starting to come back. 5 minutes 30 seconds. So the booster's like, there's only like 2 minutes until drogue chute deployment on the first stage.
We have got some good telemetry coming in for how Electron is travelling to low Earth orbit. If you are just joining us, our 20-second mission is going well so far, with the second stage travelling at more than 11,000 kilometers per hour, more than 214 kilometers above Earth. Electron's booster is now on the correct angle of attack to re-enter the atmosphere from space, where it separated with the second stage as per normal launch procedure a few moments ago. All systems are continuing to perform well across both stages of the vehicle.
Okay. I just really hope the booster can make it. I wonder if we're gonna see like a visual entry. Like we're not gonna see plasma build up, but we're gonna see like I wonder if we're gonna see like I don't know, the thing you see in Kerbal Space Program when you go
Our
too fast
next
in
launch
atmosphere.
event will be the battery hot swap set to take place on Electron's second stage. Because our Rutherford engines maintain their power source from batteries, at a certain point those batteries run out of charge. So we need a fresh new one to keep the engine running. And what we do is we swap the power from the depleted batteries to a third fully charged one, all while keeping the second stage moving at more than 13,000 kilometers an hour.
There comes the
We'll
first
hear that
stage.
moment called out through mission control shortly, before we expect to hear the next recovery operation milestone, that deployment of the drogue parachute.
Drogue chute should
Let's
happen
listen
any
in.
second soon. They said around 7 minutes, so it should happen any second now. Please deploy. Please. There's something.
Hot swap successful.
Battery jettison confirmed.
You could see the battery jettison. No, I want to see the first stage.
And stage 2 propulsion is holding nominal.
What happened to the first stage?
And there we go. That we had the good news of battery hot swap there on Electron's second stage. Next up in recovery operations will be the main parachute release. We should be hearing that call shortly.
Oh, so it looks like the drogue chute did deploy. We should see camera views
AFDS
soon
has
because
saved.
it probably cut off from the booster feed. So we should see videos from a helicopter shortly, if they can get it from there. Eight minutes 20 seconds. The main
HVB
chute,
discharge holding nominal.
please. The main chute. Come on, please.
Stage 1 main chute deploy.
Yes. Okay, the main chute's out. Now we should start seeing
The parachute on
views
Electron's
from
booster
the
has
helicopter or the
successfully
booster.
deployed, and so our recovery helicopter is in the air on its way to get a glimpse of the booster coming back to Earth. All going well, the first stage should now glide gently toward the ocean, remaining in the air for another 10 minutes or so from the
10
parachute's
minutes?
release. We'll bring you visuals from the helicopter if we can. Right now though, high above stage 1 recovery, Electron's primary mission is continuing nominally, with the second stage powering its way to low Earth orbit. In under 2 minutes, this stage will be approaching its next event, second engine cutoff, or SECO, and then separation from its orbital transfer vehicle, the kick stage, which will carry the 2 Black Sky satellites to their destination. We won't have an immediate engine burn on the kick stage following that separation, as it goes into a coast phase while it's in an elliptical orbit before its Curie engine ignites and jolts it into a circular path for payload deployment. We'll wait to hear that stage separation call come from Mission Control shortly.
So SECO should be soon because kick stage separation is soon,
Guidance is in
and they can't
terminal,
separate
25
it.
seconds remaining.
5 seconds in the second stage burn. Oh, there's from the helicopter. Apparently not. 5 seconds remaining. Oh, yep,
And SECO
there's SECO.
confirmed.
There's a view from the helicopter.
Stage 3 separation confirmed.
And there's
Nominal
kick
transfer
stage separation.
orbit received.
There you go, another smooth achievement of our latest mission milestone. The Rutherford engine on Electron's second stage has shut down as planned, and the kick stage has now separated on its way to payload deployment in about 45 minutes or so. Meanwhile, we are getting some views from the helicopter of Electron coming back to Earth. Hopefully we'll see that soon under a parachute. Our helicopter's role here is to maintain a visual connection for as long as it can to record data of the first stage that will help refine our operations for future Electron aerial capture attempts. Electron has around 8 minutes left in the air before it reaches the ocean.
Okay, so
We are going to take a break now though while the kick stage enjoys its coast phase around the Earth. Unfortunately, we won't have a live video feed of payload deployment on this mission, but we will stay with you on this webcast to bring you a simulated view of that occurring. That's expected to take place at around T plus 55 minutes into the mission. And of course, any updates we have on the final moments of our recovery operations, we'll bring them to you here live while we wait the end of the mission. But we will leave you with views from the helicopter if we can keep them up from the splashdown zone as long as we can. And I'll see you back here soon.
I want to see views from the helicopter. Oh, it's everyday astronaut music. Let's see if we can see the first stage from the helicopter view. Okay, so, I hope we get live views from the first stage. Let's see, like, where it is. hope we get more live views. Because I really want to see the second stage. I mean, I really want to see the first stage recovery. Yeah, you can. What's on the screen right now? The little shape. That's the second stage and the trajectory that it's following. The dots are the trajectory that it's going to follow, and the little craft is the actual stage. So, splashdown should happen in around 5 minutes. So we should get views from that soon, hopefully. I hope we get views from it. Okay, so I hope. Like, I don't really care if the video is like half a frame per second. I just want to see some of the video. So, I really hope they do give us first stage views because it should be touching down really soon.
We are standing by for confirmation of Splashdown of Electron's first stage from the recovery team. If we're not able to bring you live video confirmation of that during today's webcast, we will keep you updated via our social media channels. Meanwhile, we'll be back at around T plus 52 minutes with an update ahead of payload deployment.
Okay. Well, I really want the live views. Splashdown should be like around now. This is all everyday astronauts music. No, this one's spaceships for Earth. Wait, I don't think this is the scale of it all. 1 second. Let's get my phone. Yeah, it's spaceships for Earth. Okay. Rocket Lab, please show us live views. Please. 20 minutes. When are they gonna confirm that it landed? Or not? Or... yeah, so the main chute did deploy. When are they going to show us about the first stage? I'm starting to think that something happened. This is seeming a little bit long. This is seeming to take a little longer than expected. I think something happened to the booster because this is seeming a little bit long. Because the main chute deployed 15 minutes ago. So hopefully we can get something. This is... I'm starting to think that something happened to the first stage. Let me just try and speed it up again to see. Yeah, I don't think the booster landed or splashed down. They posted stage 1 main chute deploy 18 minutes ago. Yeah, I don't think it did it. That's... I hope it... Yeah, I don't think the first stage did it. So I don't think the booster did it. So I'm going to end the live stream for today. So thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next video or live stream or whenever that is. Thank you and bye bye.